Dear colleagues, greeting. Before starting, I'm going to ask a question. Why is it so important to teach mathematics in English? Why is it so important to teach a non-linguistic subject through English as a foreign language? In other words, what is in it for students? What the benefit is for them? I will answer this question in three parts. First, I will focus on the profile and motivation of today's students in non-linguistic classes. Second, how can my teaching meet both student expectations and curricular requirements? Third, what incredible benefits, what incredible advantage can we give students through teaching a non-linguistic subject through a foreign language? Today's student profile and motivation. First of all, today's students profile and motivation in DNL class. I have noticed that as a global citizens, our students want to improve their English as a powerful language for international communication. Knowing how to interact in English is among the background required in higher education, prestigious universities, and engineering schools, marketing and business schools. Moreover, English is used by famous people. I can quote actors, actresses, even football players, and particularly companies that are in the center of innovation and technology communicate in English. Thus, there is a very simple equation in their perception. Success equals speaking English. Success equals ability to speak and to work in English. In this context, how can my teaching meet both student expectations and curricular requirements? How can my teaching meet both students' expectations and curricular requirements? I advise teachers, particularly trainee teachers, to enroll the DUDNL training offered by the University of Créteil and other universities, depending where you live. And they provide the opportunity to observe linguistic and non-linguistic sessions. So on top of that, you have some lectures about CLIL. And CLIL for content and language integrated learning. CLIL is an approach based on several methodologies. CLIL is an approach based on several methodologies, such as playful approach, didactic engineering, and pedagogical engineering. CLIL is what we call in French Emile for enseignement d'une matière par l'intégration d'une langue étrangère. CLIL is more about transferability of what works in linguistic class or linguistic class to a non-linguistic class. For example, the notion of final task, or the way we value oral expression, language in action, and interaction in order to foster student motivation. Indeed, it allows students to speak and they make peace with mistake because they learn to manage in dialogue and interaction. In addition, CLIL is based on scaffolding. So what is scaffolding? I'm going to quote the 69th page of the book entitled CLIL, written by K. Bentley. So it's written that CLIL is more about scaffolding. And what is scaffolding? Scaffolding is the steps teachers take to support learners so that they can understand new content and develop new skills. Later, learners can use the new learning in different contexts without the support of scaffolding. Scaffolding is temporary support to help learners to do things now as well as in the future. Vygotsky wrote that what learners can do today with support, they can do alone tomorrow. Scaffolding can be provided for listening, speaking, reading, and writing tasks in all curricular subjects. And it can be used to help learners form ideas and learn language. Some learners need more support than others, and some need to be supported for longer than others. Often, learners find they need support in one or two curricular subjects, but not in others. For example, some learners may need many forms of scaffolding for history and geography lessons, but fewer for maths and science. Others may need more support in science subjects and less in IT. So what's a key concept? How can we scaffold learning? There are many different ways teachers can scaffold learning, scaffold learning, so that learners feel successful when doing tasks. The kind of support we provide is very important for the outcome of the task. One way to scaffold learning is to carefully consider the language we use. For examples of scaffolding are creating interest, breaking down tasks into small steps, providing before, during, and after task support, using visuals and realia, demonstrating tasks, using word banks, glossaries, sentence substitution tables, writing frames, using model text for production of language, providing constructive feedback. We need to build on what learners already know about the subject and build on what language they already know. Then we need to support learners to achieve the next step in understanding subject content before they can work on their own. More scaffolding is needed when learners have to understand subjects which are new and unfamiliar. Scaffolding is also needed to create classrooms where there is interaction and collaboration. For example, we can use visual organizers as speaking frames so that learners can work together to prepare explanations, comparisons, or descriptions before presenting their idea to the class. Scaffolding definitely is support. That students need to succeed. In fact, some students need support to process information and other to solve problems. Others need support in order to communicate. So we need to break down tasks into small steps to allow them to take ownership of the final tasks, to encourage interaction, such as language in action, from lower to higher order thinking skills, as Vygotsky talked about the proximal area. And each student can participate. They can contribute to the final tasks. And our goal is to reduce teacher talking time and to increase student talking time. It's both the continuous integration and the continuous delivery from students. It's a skill set we need in language and non-language classrooms. So what incredible benefit, what incredible advantage can we give to students? We start from the student project and we work backwards to the school project. We can propose some partnerships. And the direct helps us with this. If not, we can propose some trips or workshops, even online activities through e-training. we work towards a common goal, which is to give to our students the opportunity to communicate in a daily life context, plus through some workshops, they are going to use thinking skills to solve problems. So, yeah, it's more about scientific communication. And to sum up, it's very interesting as an approach in personal and professional development, because it's more about relationships, collaboration, co-construction with students, collaboration with colleagues, cooperation with institutions, even embassies, project management, and also cultural diplomacy. So I think it's it's very interesting. Dear colleagues, now I'm ready to answer your questions. Thank you. Yeah, about the content, communication, culture, cognition. Yeah, it foresees. The content, it's the curriculum, the progression in curricular subjects. About communication, it's more about interaction, using language to learn. And what about culture? Culture, it's for understanding our culture and other cultures to be, yeah, a global citizen. And cognition, more about developing cognitive and thinking skills. Okay, the difference between lots and odds, lower order thinking skills, it's more about remembering, understanding, and applying. And odds, it's focus on analysis, evaluating, creating, yeah, thinking skills. We explore what we call zone of proximal development. Zone of proximal development linked to the cooperative learning developed by Vygotsky. It's students know what they can do, and we are going to explore, to scaffold what they can do with help. So it's on that we scaffold, on that we are trying to give them an opportunity to make progress. Okay. Yeah. In classe de seconde, in modern language or in English, they have 3 hours. In European section, they are going. We are going to add 1 hour of English and 1 hour of DNL. So 4 hours of English per week, and 1 hour of DNL, of non-linguistic class, either maths, history, management. Yes. Okay. In European section, we promote the advanced mastery of English, and it's to enable students to improve their linguistic performance through this program of 4 hours of additional English, allows students to obtain European section mention on the baccalaureate if the mark is above 12. And the essential of selection is based on the profile and motivation. The educational system represents in-depth study of the chosen language, unless there are schedule constraints. Yeah, but if it's compatible with the optional courses, I think they can combine. Okay, for example, in maths, it's DNL maths and English. It's more about the discovery of the by subject, new learning, linguistic and disciplinary, about the final tasks. We target oral production, the use of Audacity, student in action in the group work. They can make some simulations through Python language. Yeah, we keep the playful approaches and cultural opening. We clarify the cultural context. And it's also an occasion to use information and communication technologies for education. Yeah, about the content, it's inclusive, varied, rich, even in mathematical themes in terminal or in other subjects. I mean, the program for the final exam could be based on 3 or 4 different topics, 2 categories of topics. We have topics defined by mathematical concepts. First, function, for example, second degree derivative of a function, equations. Second, sequences. Third, statistics and probabilities. Fourth, geometry, plan geometry and space geometry. And about topics defined in relation to an issue, from the most inclusive to the least: mathematics and games, mathematics and technology, optimization, mathematics and economics, mathematics and demography, mathematics and citizenship, mathematics and history, mathematics and science, mathematics and professions, etc. So in a second general, requirement is based on I can talk about some skills. For example, can be considered as acquired in a foreign language, vocabulary, and basic techniques. Yeah, and in the subjects, yeah, instruction or guidelines, algebraic calculation, probabilities, and geometry. Yeah, classical one. Yeah, about test and award in the European class mentioned. Yeah, the mark should be, the student must obtain a mark greater than 12 out of 20 in the compulsory language or modern language. of the section, and a mark greater than 10 out of 20 on a specific assessment of the level of language acquired during the DNL. The mark awarded for the student schooling in the final year counts for 20%. Okay, tests and some principles. The topics of the subject are chosen from a list for the senior class. The teaching must remain broad, rich, and varied in the second and premier class. The choice of themes should only be made in the terminal class. Each candidate presents at the time of the test the themes studied during the year, signed by the teacher. These themes chosen by the teacher during the first term of the current year are sent to the inspector, responsible for teaching mathematics in the European sections. They will then be communicated in due course to the designers of the oral subject. The teachers who design the oral subject are brought together according to the procedures laid down in the academy. It is desirable that the DNL teacher examiners also meet with the language teacher, as it's already the case in several academies at the instigation of the language inspector for the European sections. Yeah, about the oral test at the baccalaureate. The test should assess the quality, fluency, richness of the English language, the ability to express oneself and react spontaneously in the target language. Also the ability to reason in the DNL. The oral language test counts for 80% of the overall mark. The assessment is carried out by a teacher of the section's modern language, and unless this is not possible, by a teacher of the non-language subject. Okay, the first part of the oral test is based on a document or activity material relating to the subject, for example, mathematics. This document, which must be known to the student, is given by the examiners. Iconographic, sound, or audiovisual documents may also be used to support this first part of the question, either primarily or secondarily. Examiners should take into account the clarity of presentation and the intelligibility of the content expressed by the student, the ability to analyze and argue, the quality of the candidate's information and culture in the fields under consideration, the richness and precision of the expression and the grammatical correctness of the spoken language. In the first part of the test, the candidate will report on the unknown document and answer the questions. If he or she wishes, he or she may give a 10-minute presentation, but he or she may also ask the examiners for indications or clarifications in relation to the statement made. The second part of the oral test interview in English on activities carried out in DNL maths. The list of questions is provided by the candidates. The interview may also focus on European section. and the various forms may have taken in the school, partnerships, exchanges, clubs, newspapers, internet, relations, etc. The interview is conducted in in a free way through management. So the candidates must demonstrate the way he reacts spontaneously to prepared questions relating to a known field, opinion, information, formulates an appreciation. Yeah, the way he's going to participate to those kind of exchanges and sharing. For the second part of the test, the candidate may provide a list of works. For examiners, it is no way a test of academic knowledge, but to assess oral expression in interaction. This part of the test should be an opportunity for a real exchange with the candidates. Yeah, attribution of the mark. The mark awarded recognizes the work done in the foreign language. This mark is awarded by the teacher of the non-language subject in conjunction with the language teacher. The spontaneous or encourage participation in oral work in class, or in the class, I'm sorry. The quality of certain required oral or written work carried out during the year. About collaborative projects, I underline that the direct can help for that. If it's not possible, you can use e-training for online projects. And the common goal and the ideal would be a collaborative project through some partnerships with other countries, even European countries or English-speaking countries. When you are going to start, normally the first year is more about observation, and then you can plan something with an English colleague, and lead to a collaborative DNL and Lang project. You can organize that in two phases. First stage, welcoming the correspondence, for example. Second phase, a trip of about 2 weeks in terminal, for example. So collaborative project over 2 years with showing of same students in DNL and English, family welcome component, cultural and school immersion, plus visit programs related to language concept and DNL program. It's very important to have a common thread. It could be chosen both by DNL teacher and linguistic teacher. So about British pedagogy, the approaches to teaching the text, for example, are very interactive. We can talk about group work, discussion, presentation, drama. Students are encouraged to take ownership of the text, the essays, to demonstrate an informed personal and critical response. Talk about big picture approach. Assessment is formative and based on the oral and written criteria. About the project. Donc, pour vraiment ce qui concerne le projet, donc le guide pour élaborer les projets, c'est sur 5 questions à se poser. Donc, pourquoi mettre en œuvre un projet d'échange à distance? Quels sont mes objectifs? Quels seraient les partenaires idéaux pour mener ce projet? Quel type de production coopérative pourrions-nous réaliser? Quels sont les éléments du contexte qui me semblent favorables ou pas? C'est très important de penser à cela en amont pour pouvoir anticiper, clarifier et ou lever un certain nombre d'obstacles. Voilà, donc c'est important quand même à mentionner et j'estime que c'était vraiment important à souligner. Oui, sur la différence, yeah, the difference between DNL class, English class, and non-linguistic class. I can say that by subject, we transfer, donc first, we transfer linguistic concepts in a non-linguistic class. It's more about, in mathematics, for example, we use math software, toolboxes, and math skills to solve math problems, but through a foreign language. For example, the program is in English, Python program. Python programs are in English. And the most important thing is it's interaction because we want to solve the problem. And also, one of the things that we transfer to by subject class is the notion of final tasks. So it's very important to mention that. And yeah, we are going to value communication, interaction. Communication, interaction, it's linguistic skills, but it's value in the context of by subject. And in order to solve problems. So it's very important to be mentioned. For example, we have to ask a question. So for that, we simulate. It's what we do in math class, test, feedback. But on top of that, we have interaction in a foreign language. Okay. But our interaction, it's not only how to use the language. It's how to use the language to solve the problem. So, and then we have to correct the program and yeah, having a validation. And our final tasks could be an oral production, for example, how to prove something. You can produce an oral production through Audacity, for example. Yeah, the language skills that we can highlight, it's language in action, oral expression, interaction, quality of language, fluency, accuracy. Mobility projects. Yeah, I propose in the school projects some trips, partnerships with some high schools and universities. It could be with Hungary or Croatia. The United Kingdom is better, but we have a problem with Brexit because some students need a visa. For the construction of activities regarding the label B1 or B2, for that we can explore what Vygotsky call zone of proximal development, what they can do and what they can do with help. So I think for B1, B1 and B2. B2, it's more about autonomy because they are intermediate, but advanced intermediates. We target the total autonomy in activities. So it's more about higher order thinking skills, um, problem solving, creativity, accuracy, fluency in the language, even creativity, evaluating analysis. Yeah. And for B1, it's intermediate. So intermediate will focus on the input, the output, and yeah, the global understanding of the process, and prepare something like something to scaffold, fix vocabulary, clarify the context, the cultural context, break down tasks in small steps. Yeah, focus on understanding, applying, and remembering. Thank you so much. I hope it's it's fine for you. Thank you.